Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. The morning show is on live, and we thank you for choosing us this morning. I am Ernesto, and via Zoom, I'm being joined by a couple of guests. We'll be talking about Fisherfolk and, of course, about the fishing industry and events that they're having. Joining me are Desiree Arzu. Good morning. We've so I know.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Hi, you
Ernesto.
are. Good morning, dear. And Dwayne Macoon. Morning, Dwayne.
Good morning, Ernesto. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Where are you, both of you, right now?
I'm at home. I don't want to say where, but I'm in the Belize district.
I'm actually in Dangriga, Mr. Ernesto. Yes.
You're in Dangriga. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. You're having Fisherfolk Month, right? Is that what we're going to talk about this morning?
Yes, we're going to talk about Fisherfolk Month. So this is not our first, how do I say it in a Croffy? This is not our first rodeo.
Not our first rodeo.
No, this is like, I believe we started in 2016. So this is like the 9th year that we're having Fisherfolk Month. And it's a number of activities that we have planned to celebrate these wonderful folks who provide food on our tables, who provide seafood in the restaurants, who contribute so much to our economy. And we just thought it at WCS fitting to have a member of one of the fisher associations in Belize, Wabafu Fisher Association from Dangriga, to join us because the first activity to kick off Fisherfolk Month is the 3rd annual Wabafu Fisher Fair in Dangriga. And it's just, it makes sense, right, to have a member of that association. They recently had their elections for their executive, and Mr. Macoon is the vice treasurer. He was voted as vice treasurer, and I want to say here, he actually got the most votes in that election, which was overseen by WCS. So maybe I will just pass it over to him to talk a little bit about the association and how they are involved in the planning of this activity. But I just want to say here first that WCS has been supporting fishers for many years. We work with several communities, coastal communities, including Dangriga, Hopkins, Belize City, Sartineja, and we have now branched out to include other communities, especially in the south, like St. Bite, Placencia, and Riversdale. So we've been doing a lot of community outreach in many of these areas. We've been working with fishers, but our program also spills over, if I may say it like that, to the terrestrial arena. So we do both marine and terrestrial work, and we have been doing this in Belize for over 4 decades. So we're just happy to be here and to support Wabafu and other fisher associations around Belize, and to have this event going on now 9 years to celebrate our fishers. So now, with that said, I want to pass it over to Mr. Macoon to talk a little bit about Wabafu.
Yeah.
Yes,
the first thing I want to know. The first thing I want to know.
Mic is off, I believe.
No, we hear him. I'm hearing him.
Go ahead, Ernest.
Yeah. The first thing I want to know is what is or who is Wabafu?
Well, the word and Wabafu, it directly comes down and boils down to our strength, in the Garifuna language. So and I think collectively, as a organization and as a community, I think we have a lot of strength when we all come together now. So that's kind of like the way how the word boils down, our strength.
Okay. So and you.
So, go ahead.
Your association is based in Dangriga.
Yes, we are.
And who are the members?
Well, we have Mark Thompson. We have Veronica Tun. We have Miss Paula Coleman. We have Mr. Simon Palacios, and we have Miss Adeline Casimiro.
And Abigail.
Yes, Miss Abigail. I'm sorry, Miss Abigail Casimiro. So those are our current board members, and so we are a new body. We just got elected in probably about a month now. So we're just kind of hitting the ground and making strides and starting to make things happen.
And how many members does the association have?
Currently we have about 30.
30.
And we continue to we will continue that work and try to build on top of that and try to build a bigger more robust members.
One of the things I want to interject here, Ernesto, is one of the what stands out for Wabafu is that their members are not just fishers. They have also included regular Jane and John public as part of their association. So once you are interested in safeguarding the fisheries industry and you're interested in ensuring that, you know, it is sustainable, you can join the Wabafu Association and make your contribution. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask if all the persons on the board were fishers.
Yes, as a matter of fact, every single one of we on the board currently are fishers. Great. Yes, most definitely. Yeah. That's not a requirement, but it currently is the way.
I think it's a good. Describe for us a typical day of a fisher right now in this century. I know in the old days they used to go out and fish and stay out for days and have a sailboat and things like that. Have things changed? What's a typical fishing practice now of your members, for instance?
Well, typically you would say a day in our life, but in our reality, most of our fishing trips actually are planned prior to the day before. So we have to, we have to get with gas, which we all know currently is at, the all-time high.
Right.
Then we have to plan our food, or rations where we need for the set time. And most trips are based around a 3 to 4 day time span. And the limiting factors, of course, is fuel and ice. So we also have to plan out with ice, and so that kind of set the tone for how long we are there at sea. Most people nowadays, most fishers, I should say nowadays, have usually camps out on the islands.
Okay.
And so you have your camp where you're at your main base of operation. Mm-hmm. And so you're set out with with your rations and your goods for that said trip, for that said time. And so you will go out for the day, catch your bait or your sardine or whatever you need, and then you set out for the morning. We try to get an early start. I think most fishers, it's critical to try to get an early start. And then we normally try to find our fishing grounds, whether you're the fishing or whether you're the dive. Try to locate, what target or whatever your species you are trying to produce for the day. And you usually try to get back in around 3 o'clock because you need time for pack your fish time, or your lobster or whatever it may be, in order for it to not go bad by own. So we have different preparations, and then you still have to find time before night sets in, usually before you try make something to eat. So that kind of run a typical gambit of the day of usually how our day set out.
Do you go fish on the same day every week?
No, and for several reasons. We have weather conditions plays a very strong particular role in this industry. Most things are weather dependent, whether we go fishing, whether we go diving. We have to watch the weather. The weather safety is paramount in this industry. Because we leave loved ones behind at home, so we try to get back home to them. That's the sole purpose of us out there doing our work, is to come back home to our loved ones. So at the top of everything paramount is safety. So we have to take into consideration the weather conditions foremost before we even venture out.
You mentioned fuel and of course ice. What are the other major challenges you face today when it comes to choosing to be a fisher? I mean, what makes it more difficult?
Well, where we're looking at is, of course, we're looking at climate change being one of the difficulties. I mean, our water temperature in our coastal reef is an all-time high, and we are seeing a lot of bring a lot of coral die off due to that. So, and we're seeing, different species not be as abundant due to climate change. We think directly relating to that. And then the second thing we have to keep in consideration, the challenges is the what you would say these are the new laws that coming down from the fisheries side of things. We have to keep in consideration all the laws that comes along with that, no? Because very, very often you have new laws coming down, and we have to try to stay up to date with those and try to stay in compliance with the new laws.
Is being a fisher now, how should I say, a trial and error career? When you get in your boat in the morning, you're all prepared to go fish. Do you have any idea what you're going to catch, or you're just taking and saying, let me see if I catch something today? How definite is that?
It's experience, and it's something that you have to be, it's handed down. I think a lot of right now, as you see it, a lot of the best on the water tour guides are prior fishermen or current fishermen. But that leads up to the experience, you know. That's not something you could just jump in at the boat overnight and say, well, I decided I'll be a fisherman today. No, a lot of these knowledge are handed down to you. Location, where you're going to fish, why you're going to fish there. These are local-based knowledge that have been handing down from generation to generation. So, and in some instances, yes, the population, the species population are not there like they were in the past in some instances. But for the most part, this is not something where you could just jump in and say overnight, why will I decide today I want to be a fisherman? This is a generational thing. Somebody have to hold your hand and walk you into it.
It's interesting that you asked that question earlier, Ernesto, to Dwayne regarding fuel and all of that, because what we've been seeing, WCS is actually at this moment conducting a survey on the socio-economic status as well as the enforcement perception of fishers in the communities that we work with. One of them is Langriga, and of course I said some of the others earlier, Hopkins, St. Bite, and Riversdale, Placencia, Sartineja, and Belize. And so we haven't completed it yet, but what we've been seeing from some of the fishers when we do our focus group discussions is that a lot of times they spend so much money for their resources to go out and fish, and then what they catch does not match up to what they spend. So a lot of times fishers go out and they lose money, trying to garner these products for both their families and for consumers and by extension for the country. So that was an important question that you asked, and Dwayne alluded to the fact that knowledge is passed down from generation to generation. Some fishers will tell you they know exactly where to go and they know where to catch the products, and they know what bait to use, where to use that bait, for what product to use that bait. So you have like specific bait where you use to catch specific species. So so WCS has been working as well to sort of encourage fishers to do supplementary livelihoods, and it has been done in the past, and many times it hasn't worked. So this time around we want to do stuff that will be sustainable, that will last, that fishers identify. So now they will identify what they think will last in the for at least a few years, 10, 15, 20 years, rather than have something start up and within 2 to 3 or 4 years it just doesn't work out.
But from your data that you're gathering, and you're saying they do go out and they don't make enough to pay for their expenses, are we saying that it's a earner that will see less and less persons getting involved in? Is that what is happening, or it will happen? It's inevitable that we'll have less and less fishers.
I don't know about that, Ernesto, because the latest statistic we have on registered fishers to date is 2,816.
That's what I heard.
By the end of last year, actually, I was told that there were 3,507 fishers who were registered. So I don't know if that theory of yours is accurate at all.
Well, but I don't know how active they are. Well, they anyway. I can go sign up as a fisher as I want if I want, even if I would be useless at it. But what I'm saying is, though, the numbers say that, but how many of them are actually active on the ocean? And the authorities and people like yourself looking at the industry and saying, you know what, this has to have a limit because it can only go so far. It's not what it used to be 20, 30, 40 years ago. And 20, 30, 40 years from now, it's not going to be what it is today.
That is a question for the fisheries department and government for sure. But this is what is happening now. I mean, the figures I gave you is up-to-date figures as of now. Right. So, I mean, people, and these are just registered fishers. There are fishers who are not registered. There are fishers who fish inland. We have some women from, for example, the Belize River area who fish inland, and this is still fishing. So these are only people who go to the fisheries department to pay for their license that these figures are for. There are, like I said, there are other people who fish just for consumption. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, you have the month, which is next month, right? June.
No, yes, June. So, like I said, the activities kick off on Saturday, the 1st of June in Dangriga for the 3rd annual Wabafu Fair. And we decided that we're going to have the fair in just this location. That doesn't mean that other entities that are involved with fisheries can't have their own fair, but we want this fair to be something that people look forward to every year. And they say, oh, you remember we're going at the fair at Dangriga. It's going to always be in that area. So that kicks off Fisherfolk Month. And what we did differently this year with the activities, we've been doing it before, but we became more precise with inviting other organizations that actually are involved with fishers to participate in the activities. So we asked them to contribute what are some of the activities that they'll be having for the month of June that will be focused on fishers. So if you look at the, I believe we sent the schedule for the activities. Right. If you look at it, you will see various organizations on there that will be having activities throughout the month of June to engage with fishers. So for the committee that plans these activities each year, there are various members from, for example, the Fisheries Department. We have the CRFM, which is the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism. We also invited Wabafu for the past couple of years to participate on the planning committee. And of course, WCS, we have CNFO, which is Caribbean Network of Fisher Organizations. So we invite everyone who is interested and willing to participate to come up with some of the activities as well that will highlight the importance of our fishers in Belize. Because a lot of times, prior to working with WCS, I did not have all this knowledge about fishers, and I must say that for the almost 9 years I've been there, I've learned so much about fishers and how much work go into what they're doing and dedication. They actually are risking their lives each and every day. They leave on their boats to sea. There's so much happening out there. Some of it illegal stuff, and so we must appreciate themselves, appreciate these men and women, not just in June. I mean, we picked June because it's just before the opening of the lobster season, which is on the 1st of July, but throughout the year, we need to recognize these men and women who work so hard to provide our seafood every year. And one of the ways that we also recognize them, one of the activities is the Fisher of the Year Awards. So nominations will be opened next week. Actually, you can start nominating the fishers, but we'll be starting the airing of that call for nominations on Love FM beginning on Monday. And we ask that people nominate whomever you think is worthy of that award for Fisher of the Year. And there are stipulations for that nomination that we'll be sharing on that public service announcement starting next week, but we'll also have it on our page at WCS Belize. So this is an opportunity for you to say thank you to these men and women who have been working so hard to provide our seafood every year, every day. Well, not every day, but because they are closed seasons, but on an yearly basis to us. I know a lot of we like we kong soup and we kong fritters and we kong ceviche and you know, lobster. We can't wait for the lobster season open to enjoy one nice, you know, however you enjoy lobster, and there'll be a lot of lobster fairs around the country. So we just want to invite the public to join us in our celebration of fishers for Fisherfolk Month. And I just want to mention the theme this year that we're using is leave no one behind in building an enabling environment for small-scale artisanal fishers. And artisanal is just saying these men and women are skilled in what they do. They know what they're doing. They have been doing this. Their grandfathers, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers have been doing this for many years. It's something that is a part of them. They're skilled at it, and we need to ensure that we leave no one behind when we're talking about fishers in Belize.
Well, Desiree, thank you for the information. All the best to you. I suspect the celebration and the activities will be all over the country.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes. So like I said, there are our partners that have contributed to the activities. If you look at the schedule, they're in different areas. So for example, we have some stuff happening at Lighthouse Reef. We have some in San Pedro. We have Sardinia, Dangriga, and so forth. So yeah, all over the country. Okay.
Thanks again for joining us. Desiree Azu, Communications Coordinator at the Wildlife Conservation Society, and Dwayne Macoon. I guess you are... you have a desk job now. You don't go fishing anymore.
Oh, I still do. I'm very active. I just can't take this time off to give for updating this information.
Well, we really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dwayne Macoon, Vice Treasurer at Wabafu Fishermen Association. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure speaking to you this morning.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. Have a good day.
You too. And that's a wrap for this morning's edition of the morning show here on Love FM, Love Television.